Alright, I'm at Joseph Tribble Park, January 23rd, 2025. There's the parking lot. Starting to walk this way. I don't know what they're doing, but they cleared like all the ground cover from here. So now, here's the above ground part. Here's what's usually underground. This is the rhizome of the native bamboo. You can see how it comes up and then just goes back in the ground over here. So this is showing this. It's capable of photosynthesis, which is why it's green over here, where presumably it had sunlight exposure before this happened. But I do have a ruler proper, but also just here's the shovel for scale. This stalk is very cool. It's got little purple stripes instead of green. Also here's some crossvine, also purple leaves at the moment. Alright, up here, I don't understand these people. Maybe they just don't want potential snakes. So all the little brown twiggies sticking up is bamboo remnants. And then it's all back there. Hope to fuck they didn't spray it with poison or anything. This is the undescribed species, for the record. Might be a quote-unquote new species. As I've shown in earlier videos, during the summer, as I mentioned, it's January, I'm wearing shorts right now, and I'm sweating. You can see rhizome, and then it's sprouting back up, including everywhere there. And back there, it's growing all thick. This is also the spot where, before I realized what the bamboo was, I took a picture of a gray squirrel eating some without realizing that's what it was. And I don't think anybody's ever seen that before, so yeah, look how thick it is. It's fantastic. This is the undescribed species, so. And there's dog poop. Well, I guess it probably likes that. So, yeah, the city's just chopping it down, but it will grow back. And this means I can get more rhizome cuttings to preserve it in case of, I don't know, absolute disaster. This stem's purple here, which is very pretty. Yeah, you can see they do this multiple times, but so back there further in, there might be a chance it seeds this year. Not so much up here because it keeps getting this done to it. Oh, cool wasp nest. Also, I think it turning purple, supposedly in some things, means that it is preparing to flower. Although nobody studied this species as much, so we just don't know. They might also have sprayed it with something, or maybe it's just the cold, or maybe this one just turns purple before it turns woody. Who knows? Certainly not me. Here's an old stalk. This is an undescribed species because various things, and I'm just forgetting them all off the top of my head. Alright, that's annoying. They trim everything back, but not this thingy. This one doesn't seem to actually form very woody stems. Here, let me zoom in. Look at that. Fantastic striping. This one doesn't seem to really form woody stems or get much bigger than this, but it does get tall. See, all of his dead leaves. Might mean they sprayed it with something, or maybe it's just the cold. I'm not sure. This one's still in the ground. But they're all very skinny. And over here, probably the section where it gets tallest. That one's definitely at least 6 feet tall, so that's the tallest stalk so far. There's also sometimes rhizomes visible right here in the sand, but I don't see any at the moment. And it just continues over there and continues back into the woods, and it's shorter in the woods and more sparse. But yeah, that's it. Bye-bye. Alright, this video is for the Facebook group. I'm at Tribble Park, and I'm just gonna show you guys the native bamboo that's here. That is possibly an undescribed species, aka a new species. There's a fence here now, but over here is the tallest section. The bamboo will always have its newest shoots be the tallest because of how it ages. So that one's like probably 6 feet tall. That's the newest one. I was gonna say, you can tell this apart from Asian bamboos because most of them are usually really feathery, like the ones, okay, there's a really loud helicopter. It's probably not as loud on the video. I'm gonna give it 5 more seconds to go away. Alright, most ornamental bamboos that are from Asia are super feathery, and this kind of looks more like a reed. This is also called switch cane, sand cane, stuff like that. I really like that purple at the top there. This one here at Tribble Park is very skinny. It doesn't seem to be getting much bigger than this, even when it's getting pretty tall, which is one of the hints that it might be an undescribed species. And if you walk over here, I'm not sure if these leaves are gone because it was sprayed with something or if it was just the cold, but these ones are missing a bunch of leaves, but further in they are still green. And then over here we've got some green leaves, and you'll notice that these leaves are pretty narrow and small. If you've watched my videos, you can see these ones are kind of in shade, but sometimes if they're in full sun, the top, this section up here, this is called a top knot. Let me pull it down so you can see it in the sunlight. This is called a top knot. These leaves on this plant are very narrow, pretty small comparatively. When in full sun, the other common species of native bamboo here will get wider, like maybe like 2 fingers. I'm not sure how many inches that is. My hand for scale is 6 inches long. So these leaves are getting about 7 inches long. I don't know the math, but it's growing along here very densely, and they very clearly came through with a weed whacker and chopped a ton of it back to the ground, which they do a lot. I wish they wouldn't, but it's regrowing here from the rhizomes. All of these stick-looking things, these are the rhizomes. This is how it spreads naturally. It wants to form what is called a colony, because that helps keep it photosynthesizing, because lots of animals like to eat it, including gray squirrels. And because I got a picture of one here eating it before I realized what it was, so it's like a new discovery. But see, this is how big the leaves usually are, and they'll even get bigger than this. But the one here, it's usually got very small leaves, and all of the stems, as I said, even when it's getting taller, they're staying very skinny. For the native bamboo, it usually does not get as big, like around, as the Asian varieties. Asian species, I should say. The biggest one I've seen like around was like, come on, maybe my thumbnail in diameter, slightly more. These ones are all staying about this size, slightly larger than that, but not getting bamboo-y looking. So yeah, this could be a new species, which is kind of a misleading term because it's not like it just popped into existence. It just means nobody ever like pointed at it and said, hey, that's different from those other things. Let's formally describe it so everybody can tell them apart. But yeah, they're very small here. And this is just by the pavilion here. I will walk around and go back in there. I'll go through the parking lot because people are more likely to go this way, I guess. Yeah, most of it's over here. You can see all the little twiggy thingies, little tan things. That's where shoots were coming up over here. They clearly got rid of all the leaves and just shoved them that way. I hope they shoved them that way because leaves are fertilizer for the forest. Here's a rhizome coming up out of the ground. Here you can actually see one of the rhizomes stretching and coming up as this. Here's what the rhizome looks like. And this is, a rhizome is different from a root. This is like actually a stem. It's like the same kind of material. So you can take this and plant it and it'll grow new leaves. Just like a regular plant cutting. Yeah, you can see it just kind of snaking along the ground there, coming up there. Go this way. And there's also a little tiny kind of separate patch, maybe separate, right here. We're at the edge of the parking lot. There's some more right here. Still staying very skinny. And then we'll just go back here to this trail opening. We'll go in here, the Tribble Trail. Alright, normally the path is more defined. It's not showing up on video very well. There's an indentation because the leaves are just covering everything. So I know where I'm going. You just follow the path this way. And it just kind of snakes around, but it'll get us to the right spot. There's that helicopter again. I don't recommend riding bicycles in here unless you're a daredevil. And make sure you're wearing a helmet, because even if you're trying to go slow, these things are just kind of built to make you go fast. Alright, now we are around this little bend. We can see some more of the bamboo. It's sparser in here, possibly because the deer are eating it more. It's also getting less sunlight, so you can see it much shorter. And most of the greenery back there is the native bamboo, coming up 2 or 3 feet tall, maybe. Oh wait, I have a ruler. Why am I guessing? Hold on. Why am I guessing? I have a ruler with me. I can literally stick it here. All right. 2.5 feet tall. So yeah, so we could just continue this way. Here's an itty bitty little patch. Did they chop my pawpaw? No, okay, it's still there. Here's a little baby patch. You can see it's growing a little horizontal thing. So this might be seedling or younger, growing its own little rhizomes. Little interruption for the thing. This is a small flower pawpaw. It's got flower buds. It's gonna flower again. And yeah, all the little green stuff back there. More bamboo. If we keep going this way, you can see some in a good spot. And it covers most of the forest here, not all of it. There's like a weird section in the middle it doesn't really seem to like. But I've walked around as much as possible looking for it. See, now look at that. Green, it's bamboo. Here's this little dude right here. And you can see that's where it was either chopped or bitten by a deer maybe. But yeah, this is the new species, at least as far as nobody who is an expert on these bamboos has been able to tell me which one it is. So might just be a new species. I'm looking in case it's deciding to flower. These flower in February, can flower, I should say. They don't do it every year, at least as far as we know. They can flower starting probably in February. In some places, mostly over like Alabama, I think it was. Louisiana, they can do it in January. It's really warm, so they might do it earlier this year. At least for us, it's warm. Sucks for everybody getting the giant snowstorm. But these can start flowering in here in Savannah. I found them flowering in March. And they were flowering enough that they'd obviously been doing it since February. So it's almost February, so keep an eye out for flowers. I hope that's a squirrel. Okay, it's a squirrel. Thank you, squirrel. Sorry, squirrelies, I won't eat you, I promise. I know that's exactly what a predator would say. Yeah, you can see, I love their stripes. Also, these are called cane, and it's unrelated to the candy cane stripes. They're just two different things, and they just kind of happen to have candy cane stripes. It's not as dramatic on these, though, because they're just kind of, just look. Do you see it all? It's amazing. And there are conservation groups dedicated to protecting our native bamboos, but unfortunately, I think this is the thickest one I've found so far. This little baby thing right here. And up at the top, it's very bushy, where it has definitely been chopped back before. It's the thickest one. There are conservation groups dedicated to protecting this bamboo, not because it's particularly hard to find, but it's hard to find it thriving like this. There's a herd of deer that lives here. They are probably relying on this as a big source of food. Just look at it. I want you all to be very aware that what you're looking at is a species that is new to science. It's very difficult trying to find people to come here and put in the work to formally describe this, aka discover it. I have reached out to the University of Georgia's Master Gardener Extension. I'm going to send them this video as well as photos. We can hopefully get the ball rolling. Yeah, I'm still going, and it's still here. Again with the little purples. I guess I should maybe do the basics for the native bamboo for people who haven't heard of it before. The genus is called Arundinaria, Arundin. I have dyslexia. Hold on, I can't spell it. Arundin, Aria. Okay, whatever. Here's one that's got its top bitten off, probably. Genus Arundinaria. I believe there are 4 species described so far. There is rivercane, which is found further north and slightly further inland from us, in Savannah at least. It all used to be considered one species, and it was all called rivercane. Then they did some genetic testing and also just kind of looked at the plants and saw how they were different. And then it was split into 2. So we got what is normally found here, which is called switch cane. Unfortunately, a switch is a type of whip for people unaware. So that's not a very nice name for a lovely plant. All right, we're gonna continue this way. There's less bamboo this way. See it? I'll come back here and I'll show you. So then we got 2 species. We had rivercane and we had the switch cane. Some of this, maybe it's a subspecies of switch cane. We just don't know. Okay, see, like it goes, we got a little hill here. It's on that side of the hill. There's some in the middle here, and it goes back that way a little bit. Squirrels hopping around. But then it just kind of stops. This is like this right here is like the furthest point of it. And it just kind of goes back that way, and it's not so much right here. But if you go further this way, there's more of it. Anyways, it was all considered rivercane, and then it was split into rivercane and switch cane Switch cane is the one usually found around here. Probably what I have most pictures of. And then a third species was discovered called hill cane, and that one is different because these ones, as you can see, January, they've got leaves. They're mostly evergreen, not fully evergreen. I forget the specific word. These paths back here really suck, so I don't know if I actually want to keep going this way or just go around and go the easy way. Yeah, I'll keep talking and I'll go around the other way because if you try to walk through here, it's not short. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I'll continue the narration. Then we had hill cane, and that one is different because it also stays very short, I think topping out at 2 feet tall. And unlike river cane and switch cane, it actually loses all of its leaves over winter. And then just recently, I think in 2023, there was another one discovered. I can't remember the common name, or maybe it just doesn't have a common name yet. I forget exactly what differentiates that one. All very recent in the scheme of things. So this one might be the 5th species of our native bamboo to be discovered. It's not it. So calling species new species just kind of implies that like it just popped into existence. It's not so much that they just popped into existence, although sometimes species can evolve much more quickly than you would expect. But usually it just means nobody ever actually took the time to like pay attention and write it down in a scientific paper and describe. That's like the official term for it, like scientifically. So okay, I'm gonna pause this video to get to the next one. I gotta go all the way around the lake and then around the outside and then back in here, and that's a lot of effort, but it's so much faster than trying to follow the trails to do the same thing. I think there's a hole in the fence over here, so I might be able to take a shortcut, but I will continue when I'm at the next section of bamboo. Bye-bye. Alright, little interruption. We're not at the native bamboo. This is across the creek, so I can't get over there. But this is what I mean about the Asian varieties being feathery. It's got branches coming out on all sides, just kind of poofy. That's that. Can't really get closer pictures. You can just look them up. Alrighty, we're continuing finally. We are now on the, I'd say, western side. It's heading towards the southwestern side, and we have sudden line of bamboo appearing again. I'm on the top of some really tall hill thingy. It's a deer trail. It's also used by dirt bikers, which is not safe. You see? There's the furthest reaching of this strip of the bamboo. Sun is in like the worst position. Here's some short ones. Here's a tall one. Get my ruler. Ruler. 1, 2, I'd say 4 feet tall if we include the leaves. So taller. And this is a new shoot. You can tell because it's got all the brown covering everything. It doesn't have little stripies yet. That means that just came up in 2025. Same with this tall one here. This one is probably from 2024 because you can see the stripes on it now. Yeah, let's see what these leaves are like. These ones aren't very fuzzy on the bottom. I don't know. There is some fuzziness. Not as pronounced as the one I call big soft leaves because it's super fuzzy. You can see more down there. I'll just do a slow circle. This is the furthest encroach. That way is north. So down right where the creek seems to be as far north as it's going that way. And I don't say encroach in a derogatory way. I just mean it's going that way slowly. You can see these stems are definitely thicker than the ones over there, but still not thick. But it's bigger. Again, my hand is 6 inches in length from fingers to that line on my wrist. And I know that from using it for scale for these bamboos. So this one's got soft leaves. Yeah, this one's very nice, I say, as it's so flippin' small, but it's probably slightly bigger than a pencil. And yeah, as I was saying before, keep an eye out for flowers in February and January if you're in like Louisiana or somewhere. Oh, this log here is from a black cherry. It's got this black cherry bark. Rip to the black cherry tree that I guess got chopped in half or something. Here you can see the top knots. You can see these leaves are bigger than the ones over there, even though these ones are, there's some sunlight coming through here, but there wouldn't be if everything were fully leafed out. These, you can see these top knots are bigger than the ones over by the pavilion, and even proportionally, like even if we look at the small ones are still bigger. And there's another tall one there. Let me see if I can show you, like, as I said, when the stem is completely covered in those brown, it's called a sheath leaf. That means it's a brand new stalk, less than a year old. When they get the stripies, they're between a year and 3 years for river cane and probably most switch canes. No idea if that holds true for this one here. Let me back up a little bit and get a picture. Actual picture. Instead of just having to screenshot the video. And then when they turn woody, if they turn woody, I think I see a little short one right there. See if I can get it without falling down the hill. Can I take you? Oh, well, you're fragile. Yes! My gosh. First woody stem I found here. Look at that. Alright. This is probably the first woody stem I found here at Joseph Tribble Park. So we can look at the little branching sections. I'm taking pictures. See those little ridges? Those are called unexpanded internodes. An internode is like the whole distance between this, it's the whole middle section between bumps. So on the branches, these ones don't expand. So they're just called unexpanded internodes. That's one way you can identify the different species of it. River cane, the one usually not found here in Savannah, only will have like 1 or maybe 2 lines. This one you can't really tell, but there's like 4 or 5. All right, I'm sticking this in my bag for measurements at home. So I've not found any other ones here yet, and it's very brittle. So that's new info. But now at least I know they can do it. I'm trying to get this to go in the bag without falling out. Alrighty, let's continue. Also, hold on, look at that. Gotta get pictures of that. Might be fungus, might be cold, don't know. Let's continue. We're still on the big hill here. That's a little short. Just checking for flowers, it looked suspicious. And in the distance, you can see there's some big top knots over there. That's what it usually looks like when it's got lots of sunlight. Interesting that they're doing it in the middle of the woods, but maybe there's enough sunlight coming through the canopy. This is some other type of grass here. Not sure what. Here we got these. Oh, another woody one. Eureka! Ooh, yeah, you can really see the internodes on this one. Let me zoom in. Awesome. So this stem here still got leaves on it, so it's probably three-ish years old. No way to really tell for sure. Here's another new one. Tall one. See, look how big these leaves are. Ooh, this one's super soft. Super fuzzy on the bottom. Have you ever felt lamb's ear? Not quite as fuzzy as that, but almost. Alright. I love the fuzzy ones. And then the top, the edges, it's like Velcro. Let me get a top leaf. You can pull down, but it's got little edges, so you can't really push up against it. It's like Velcro. It only goes one way. It's not actually sharp or anything. I haven't cut myself on it. Oh, there's a rope swing. Alright, well, if anybody plays here on this rope swing, you got bamboo around you. Here's another top knot. You shocked, didn't you? Actually, it looks like the trail does go down here, so let's go down here. This is the back-ish corner of the lake, I believe. I think the bench on this side's further that way for reference. Let's go look at these big ones. This is a Butea palm that is feral. They produce edible fruit. It's also called a jelly palm. People make jelly because the fruits taste very tropical. They taste like pineapple. Right, we can now see it in shade. It's grown with some yaupon holly. This is yaupon holly. It's native. Leaves have caffeine. Don't eat the berries, but you can make the leaves into tea. Looking for snakes. Yeah, so we got some decent top knots. Those ones are about at my eye level, so about 5 feet tall. That one's probably slightly more. And there's some little short ones. Squirrels digging. Here's some more woody ones. Woohoo! This one, still alive. Interesting. And you can see, kind of blurry green over there. There's more bamboo. Fantastic. I can see some over that way. We'll go along this little trail. These trails are not properly made or anything, because it wasn't actually made by people. Most of them are literally just deer trails. Ah, here we go. And then people decided, oh, we're going to claim we made that. It's like, deer don't really hike the way people do. They don't have the same priorities. Little strand of fluff on there. Still soft leaves. Very nice. A little bumpy thingy. Got some top knots in there that are big and noticeable. Lots of yaupon holly. Here's a nice tall one. And I say nice tall, but the ones at my house are getting to 7 feet, so tall comparatively to the rest of these, because they're all short over here. Here's another woody one. Fantastic. Let me see your internodes. Lots of it over here. Not sure which way this trail's gonna go. I'll go back this way. I'm gonna look at the ground, see if there's any visible rhizomes on the path that I can dig up and transplant it home for genetic conservation in case, I don't know, this place gets blown up or something stupid. Nope, not seeing any. Alrighty. So lots over that way. Not sure what's over that way. This might be where the creek is. I don't really want to walk through there alone in case I get bitten by a snake or something. I'll bug somebody to come with me next time. Yeah, it's all fantastic. And again, it's not listed on the endangered species list because it's not difficult to find tiny little patches like if you just take this here and stick it somewhere else. You can find that in a lot of places. Ooh, look at that one. That one's probably 7 feet tall. That is the biggest one I've seen here. Holy crap. Now I gotta walk back here. And the problem with this not being woody and tall is that it doesn't give me a free poking stick for the ground. Which is nice about the other cane breaks I found. That's fantastic. Fantastic. I'm gonna look at the ground in case it's got any little flower shoots coming up. I think I forgot to describe the flowers. Let me check where my phone battery's at. 53%. It's fine. Here's how thick that is in the middle and at the base. Just have to make sure I'm not gonna poke myself in the eye with these other guys. So this stalk is brand new because it's still got this all along here. So that means this is just came up in 2025. Here's a woody one. I saw this one first and then saw that one. So this one's, it's woody and green. So probably 3 to 4 years old. You can see it's got smaller leaves at the top. That's how woody ones tend to go so far. Here's another woody one. You still have leaves? Or are you done? Oh yeah, this one is gonna come out. Just gotta bend it. Oh, maybe not. You don't want to come out yet? Can I measure you? Said nope, I'm not done yet. I've got a picture of the internodes for identification. I don't think anybody but another plant nerd's gonna enjoy this video, but that's fine by me. These leaves are not super fuzzy. I'll get a picture. These little hairs coming out of the side there. That's helpful for identification. All right, so now we know that the ones here can get tall. They're just not for some reason. Maybe getting eaten by deer. Don't know. But all right. Well, anybody who comes here, if you find this tree swing, you can come over here. Then we'll continue this way. See if we can find any more big ones. And here's the tree swing. However, somebody managed to get it up there. It's on a live oak, so should be fine. Just don't break your neck, please. Was there another trail going this way? Yeah, let's go this way. I'll stop the video in about 5 minutes unless we find something else. Just so I can save my battery. Big old live oak, water oak. Oh, yep, there's more up here. Ooh. That's squirrels. Big woody stem sideways here. Can I probably get that? Yeah, this one's not even in the ground. There, cool. Now I have a stick. So yeah, I will bring this home and I will get a video of this compared to the ones at my house. Because they're not huge, but they're at least thicker than this. Mostly. Some of them. Alright, now we're back in, I don't know what corner. They need to get like little "you are here" maps back here because these trails are just terrible. It's just so overcomplicated because it wasn't really designed. It's just a deer trail. Yeah, we got sparsely in here, but it is woody in some spots. Just walked through a spider's web and scared a little bird. Over here it's getting pretty tall. Next to this big old tree. Ooh, really tall up here. Look, another woody one. And another one. Ooh, really tall one right there. Let's see if I can get this. I don't think it's in the ground because it's like horizontal. Oh, nope, it's still got leaves attached. All right, it's just really big. Oh, wow. Look at this tree stump. Impressive. All right, ooh, looky. So I guess some maybe deer, maybe somebody, but this recently got chopped back and it's regrowing. And you can tell, it just looks like normal grass, doesn't it? You gotta know what to look for. This is more bamboo growing back. So is that. All right, let me put my shovel next to it for scale. It's got a 4-inch marker on there. I'm not actually digging it up, I'm just getting a picture. Ooh, ooh, look at this. Look at this rhizome. See, right here is where it's not photosynthesizing because it's been recently covered, but this has been out longer. So it is turning green to photosynthesize just like a leaf. I am gonna dig this piece up because I probably will not find a better one. Or maybe I'll, there's a little shoot here. I have luck with both. I wanna get one that can survive. Ooh, sorry, spider. Whatever you are. Mosquito. Sorry for shaking the phone. Alright, I'm just gonna pause the video. Alright, well, I gotta go home now because this rhizome actually pulled very easily. Like, this is what was visible. And then that just came out when I gently tugged on it because the dirt here is so soft. So, let me zoom in. See if there's... Oh, cool. Those little holes around the outside mean that it is more likely to be related to Arundinaria tecta, as opposed to rivercane, which usually doesn't have those little holes around the edge. Awesome. So, as I was saying, this one over here, getting very tall. Looking more regular. Over there, it's definitely at least 7 feet tall. Hearing lots of squirrels. So I gotta go home now, put this in water, at least get over to the water fountain. Squirrel, please don't fall out of the tree on me. Yeah. What am I tripping over? Stick. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Now I just gotta get out of these damn woods. It's not like I'm lost, it's just they're so circuitous. Here's a lot of it. Getting lots of sunlight over here. Oh, I see a spider web in front of me. Look at that. And see how this is all growing not as densely as right over by the pavilion or in the woods over there. See, even here, it's more spaced out with each, look at that butterfly. Each stem is more spaced out. And the leaves aren't as close together on the stalks. Here. You can see? It's very interesting. Alrighty. When I get to the top of this hill, I'll end the video. Oh, more. You can see more. And see how big these leaves are? And then compare that to the ones over there. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Alrighty, another video to add on. I'm on my way home. This is Roger Warlick Drive. This one has been identified as switch cane. Still yet another weird one though, because it's only extending like 5 feet back at max. As you can see, the leaves are very large. Much larger than the ones we were looking at to start with. There's a cool little ant. There's some woody ones back in there. And these are elderberries here. I'm leaning over. You can see a woody stem there. There's more on this side of the elderberries. There's a big cluster here. You can see all these big old leaves. And this one's actually in the middle of growing new leaves right now. These roots definitely have the holes that I just forgot the scientific name of. But yeah, they're just in that very small cluster, like starting there, ending over there. Not very far back in. I'll start another video when I get to the main one. Also, if you go hiking, try to remember to bring a trash bag. I forgot this time. See you then. Alrighty, last video. Might be deer running around in there. Might just be squirrels again. Here, you can see big old top knots at the top. Continues all in there. It's a bit shorter further in some spots, and super duper tall in others. We're right at the edge of the sidewalk. There's those. Up here, there's a whole bunch right next to the sidewalk. Here's wax myrtle. This is growing with wax myrtle, water oak, some greenbrier. You can see little short ones just up here. There's a part of a car tire wheel. A bunch of trash gets blown in there by the wind. Some of it's from people just throwing stuff while they're walking by. All of those are at least 6 feet tall. It continues in there a long way. And right here, this is the tallest one we've seen yet that's still growing. I think we measured that at 11 feet. It's on a hill here, but we measured back from the ground. You can see, getting pretty thick in there. Here's the one, this is the thickest, the woody one we just got from Tribble Park. You can compare those two. And here's a brand little new shoot to compare. And see, this one was tall for there, and it's about as tall as this little baby shoot. Let me put the base of this next to the base of these. There. So these ones are like maybe twice as big. And yeah, you can see there's even taller ones back in there. I'll show you next to the deck. So I'll pause it and restart. Alright, we're walking up on the deck. You can see it's massive. This is, I think, 8 feet off the ground. I measured it a bunch during the summer. Forget the exact measurements. This one here is a new stalk. Well, newer stalk. I think it was 10, 11 feet tall if we include the very top of the leaves. And just a crap ton. Super duper tall. You can see how big these leaves are. Some of these leaves, let me hold my camera. Some of these leaves are 3 inches across. This is big soft leaves, by the way. That's the name of the plant. If I had my microscope, you can actually see. Actually, I feel like this phone maybe has a built-in microscope. Let me zoom in all the way. Not as much as thing. If you see the little white fuzzy things, that's the hairs on the bottom and make it super soft. But this is big soft leaves. At least some of this is big soft leaves. There's several individuals kind of mixed together here. Some of them don't have fuzz on the leaves at all. You can see those candy cane stripes and the trash that raccoons and crap have blown in there. That one looks like it might be ready to pull up, if I can reach it. Grab it. Nope, not yet. But anyways, look at those stripes. Also, box turtles like to hang out in here in spring, like mostly around April and so. Somebody spray painted these leaves. Not sure why. Presumably it wasn't on purpose. But yeah, here's another spray painted leaf. Here. So compare this, and this one's even coming up between the deck boards. There was actually a bunch coming up from under the deck. That's what those remains are right there. Compare this to the little ones near the pavilion. Alrighty, I think that's it for today, unless I remember something else. Oh, I did measure this, the stick I got, 6 feet, pretty much exactly. So yep, bye-bye.